Good evening, everyone. Reason and emotion are often a contradictory pair. Emotionally, many people are unwilling to see New York, the capital of the world, destroyed at the hands of a second-rate communist. But rationally speaking, the real enactment of this scene is probably difficult to avoid because the political deal between the suddenly emerging Mao Zedong Mamdani and the Democratic Party leadership has already begun. Mamdani's face change came quickly. Not only did his personality change, but his campaign platform immediately shifted as well. He began calling on supporters to donate money to him. At the same time, more information emerged about Mamdani's funding sources, revealing his deep ties to the Muslim Brotherhood, an organization designated as terrorist by countries such as Saudi Arabia and Egypt. Some friends may not be familiar with the Muslim Brotherhood, but it has a notorious subordinate branch that everyone has heard of, Hamas. Today, we will also continue to focus on Xi Jinping. Whether it is Peng Liyuan's suspicious absence from the APEC summit, or Xi'an Party Secretary Fang Hongwei, who was reportedly so terrified upon arrest that he lost control of his bladder, or the bizarre 41-second spectacle that unfolded on Xinhua and military websites. All of this indicates that Xi Jinping, whose military authority has already been hollowed out, is now essentially a large-scale Emperor Xian of Han, a 2.0 version of Hua Guofeng in the process of being realized. Today is November 6th, Easter Time. I am Tang Jingyuan. If you're also following this topic, please subscribe to my channel. Let us together witness every unprecedented segment of history from an objective and rational perspective. Yesterday, New York's newly elected socialist new mayor, Mamdani, released a video of his first public speech after winning the election. In the speech, Mamdani used a series of lofty phrases to outline his new government blueprint, to make New York affordable and accountable, and to assemble a team that is passionate, professional, and idealistic, using new methods to solve old problems and so on. Just when listeners were swept away by inspiration, he suddenly said, "Oh, and one more thing." What was it? He said, "Remember a few months ago when I told you to stop donating to me? You can start again now." Many people were instantly shattered because Mamdani's turnaround came far too quickly. Originally, everyone supported him because of his plethora of free promises, only for him to execute a brilliant pivot of to get something for free, you must first pay, personally putting into practice the life wisdom of to take it, one must first give it. Then, unsurprisingly, the image of Mamdani with the light of wisdom flashing in his eyes was frozen and turned into the latest version of the meme, "When you want to borrow some money," which went viral online. Objectively speaking, as a political figure, calling on the public to donate is standard practice in the United States. It's just that since Mamdani rose to prominence by advocating killing the rich to help the poor, it would seem logical for him to target donations from a bunch of Wall Street tycoons. For a newly elected mayor, many wealthy individuals would generously contribute a toothpick's worth of meat to Mamdani just for some tax-deductible convenience, which would be more than enough to fund his administrative team. This wouldn't be difficult. So, his persistent focus on the already shy wallets of his fans appears somewhat lacking in class. This meme actually touches on another focal point of intense scrutiny regarding Mamdani, namely, the sources of his campaign funds. Mamdani's total campaign funds were approximately $16 million, including public matching funds, with over 80% coming from Muslim American donors. Very few donors provided verifiable figures. The main institutional donor was an organization called the Unity and Justice Fund PAC, which donated at least $120,000 to a super PAC supporting Mamdani. This committee is entirely controlled by CAIR, the Council on American Islamic Relations. Additionally, the Unity Lab PAC, affiliated with CAIR's California chapter, donated an extra $23,500, and at least 5 CAIR officials made separate individual donations, with specific amounts undisclosed. In short, based solely on publicly available partial information, it can be confirmed that CAIR and its PACs were Mamdani's largest institutional backers. So, what kind of organization is this CAIR? As early as 2014, a UAE cabinet minister publicly listed CAIR as one of 83 terrorist organizations, alongside the Taliban, Al-Qaeda, and ISIS. This caused a shock at the time because CAIR was an organization with very close ties to the Obama administration and the U.S. Congress at the time, leading political expression in multiple media outlets and prestigious universities. Yet it was designated by an Arab country as a source of terrorism. The UAE foreign minister personally came forward to explain publicly, stating that CAIR's characteristics were so obvious. Yes, they do not directly plant bombs, but CAIR's incitement and financial support for terrorism does more than the terrorism that exists on the surface. Moreover, CAIR is closely linked to Hamas. Hamas is recognized as a terrorist organization by the U.S. and many governments, and both Hamas and CAIR are subordinate branches of the Muslim Brotherhood. Hamas even indirectly participated in CAIR's creation, so the relationship between the two organizations is extremely close. For example, in 1994, CAIR's leader Awad publicly acknowledged their support for Hamas, and the Hamas front organization, Holy Land Foundation, directly donated to CAIR. In turn, CAIR once used the 9/11 attacks to raise money for the Hamas-controlled charity Holy Land Foundation, HLF. At a CAIR fundraising alliance in Florida, protesters even openly declared without hesitation, "We are Hamas." To date, at least 7 board members and staff of this CAIR organization have been arrested, barred from entering the U.S., or prosecuted and charged with terrorist acts. Their names are publicly available. Additionally, in 2007, federal prosecutors named CAIR an unindicted co-conspirator or collaborator for financially supporting Hamas. But during the Obama administration, the UAE instead faced pressure from the U.S. government, reportedly on the grounds that the Obama administration did not consider these organizations to be terrorist organizations and demanded that the UAE provide more information justifying the decision. This past August, Senator Tom Cotton formally sent a letter to the IRS requesting an investigation into CAIR's nonprofit status, as numerous pieces of evidence confirm that CAIR, which claims to be a civil rights organization protecting American Muslim rights, has deep ties to the terrorist organization, the Muslim Brotherhood. Also in August of this year, Secretary of State Rubio, during an interview on the Sid and Friends morning show, was pressed by the host on whether the government would formally designate the Muslim Brotherhood, and possibly its affiliate CAIR, as a terrorist organization. Rubio replied, "Yes, all of this is underway." Rubio pointed out that because the Muslim Brotherhood has multiple branches, each must be designated separately. He emphasized that the process is lengthy, but confirmed it is a government priority. What exactly is the relationship between this CAIR and the Muslim Brotherhood? Many media outlets have not fully explained it. It's actually very simple. CAIR has 2 founders, Omar Ahmad and Nihad Awad. These two came from an organization called IAP, full name Islamic Association for Palestine. Ahmad was the chairman of the association, and Awad was IAP's public relations director. This IAP was one of 3 subsidiaries under the Palestine Committee. And who established this so-called Palestine Committee? None other than the notorious Muslim Brotherhood. Therefore, this IAP was designated by the U.S. as early as the 1990s as an organization providing material support to terrorism, investigated by the FBI in 1993 and shut down. The very next year, the two joined forces to establish CAIR. This is clearly a case of changing vests and switching horses. In the U.S. trial regarding the Hamas-controlled Holy Land Foundation, an internal federal memo was once made public, directly stating, CAIR was founded by Muslim Brotherhood leaders and conspired with other Muslim Brotherhood-affiliated organizations to support terrorists. Thus, CAIR is part of the Muslim Brotherhood. But why has CAIR been able to safely develop and grow larger in the U.S. for so many years? The reason, when laid bare, is also simple. CAIR's political infiltration in the U.S. has exceeded imagination. According to public records, the Obama administration frequently and publicly endorsed CAIR, with meetings reaching into the hundreds. Then CIA Director John Brennan directly ordered the removal of negative descriptions of Muslims from training materials. Obama's Director of National Intelligence James Clapper even publicly declared the Muslim Brotherhood to be secular, the subtext being a denial of its terrorist nature. Even earlier, Just days after September 11th, then President George W. Bush stood alongside CAIR founder Awad to jointly condemn anti-Muslim sentiment. And this same Awad was also a major donor to Pelosi. Do you all see it clearly now? The extent of influence that CAIR, as Mamdani's largest institutional donor, wields over Mamdani can be glimpsed through his unmasked anti-Semitism, anti-Israel stance, and even his public declaration to arrest Netanyahu. From the last century to this one, the two ideologies posing the greatest threat to humanity are communism and radical Islamism. These two have now successfully achieved a fusion in Mamdani. What New York will become in the future is already self-evident. Everyone knows Mamdani has no prior formal work experience. The New York mayoralty is his first official job. This has led many to mock Mamdani's cognition and ability. Yes, expecting him to master a supermetropolis like New York is unrealistic, but never underestimate any communist's ability to wreck things. The genetic trait of communism is destruction and ruin. Thus, Xi Jinping, despite never accomplishing a single thing as a primary school-level operator, can nonetheless destroy 40 years of hard-earned accumulation by 1.4 billion people with a wave of his hand. Although New York Governor Hochul publicly stated she does not support Mamdani's tax increase plan, two influential state Democrats expressed readiness to back him the day after Mao Zedong won. One is a state senator from the Hudson Valley. The other is a Manhattan senator from the more powerful Finance Committee. This is not because Mao Zedong's free pie truly attracted them, but because next year they all face pressure from intra-party renewal elections. They need the voting resources controlled by Mamdani, including those of Governor Hochul. So everything is actually unrelated to people's livelihood, only to power. Let me say it again, never underestimate communists' ability to wreck things. In the time that follows, we will discuss the situation in China, because focusing on the New York election has meant we haven't talked about China for several days. Yesterday, news of Xi'an Party Secretary Fang Hongwei's arrest spread wildly across Chinese social media platforms, complete with details. Fang was suddenly taken away by the Central Commission for Discipline Inspection while conducting research in Chang'an District. Fang's face turned deathly pale, his legs went weak, and he lost bladder control on the spot, causing an uproar among those present. Fang Hongwei is a member of the Shaanxi Provincial Party Standing Committee and Xi'an Party Secretary, as well as an alternate member of the 20th Central Committee. During the fourth plenary session, when alternate members were promoted to full Central Committee membership, Fang Hongwei was skipped, leading many to speculate something was amiss. Sure enough, trouble soon followed. The image of him being so terrified he wet himself cannot be verified, but today Shaanxi Provincial Party Secretary Zhao Ida convened a special meeting in Xi'an without Fang present, and news of Fang's enterprise research visit from a day earlier was deleted, effectively an indirect official announcement of his arrest. Fang Hongwei's rank is not particularly high, but his sensitivity lies in the fact that he is from Fuping, Shaanxi, graduated from Tsinghua's automotive engineering program, meaning he is Xi Jinping's fellow townsman and alumnus, a core member of the Xi family army, and a key Shaanxi native loyalist. Moreover, local rumors in Shaanxi have long circulated that Fang Hongwei had a special relationship with Xi Jinping, and even Shaanxi Provincial Party Secretary Liu Guozhong connected with Xi Jinping through Fang's introduction, for which a special event was held to commemorate Peng Dahuai's battles with Hu Zhongnan, pioneering the claim within the party that Xi Zhongshuan and Peng Dahuai commanded side by side. This is a highly intriguing piece of news, and the second piece is equally interesting. At the end of September this year, after Xi Jinping suddenly canceled a hotel booking in Seoul, multiple Korean media outlets, citing government sources around October 8th, reported that China had formally notified the Korean government that Xi Jinping would attend the APEC summit at the end of October together with Peng Liyuan, using the occasion to visit and stay in Gyeongju. To this end, Korea especially planned multiple exchange activities for the two first ladies, including Peng Liyuan attending the APEC Leaders Welcome Banquet and participating in activities tailored for leader spouses, such as visiting Bulguksa Temple and the Woyang Art Museum. The background to this news is that during Xi Jinping's 2014 state visit to Korea, Peng Liyuan accompanied him, visiting Changdeok Palace, Dongdaemun, and other Seoul attractions. This was originally a normal arrangement because next year's APEC host is the CCP, so Xi and his wife attending together carried the meaning of a formal handover. But after the fourth plenary session concluded, when the APEC summit took place, Peng Liyuan suspiciously failed to appear. Clearly, China changed plans at the last minute, and Peng Liyuan's trip was canceled. From any angle, this is abnormal. Xi Jinping's attendance at APEC first saw him cancel his Seoul visit. Then Peng Liyuan cancel her Gyeongju visit, both after Korea had completed all preparations, only to be abruptly scrapped. In the end, we saw Xi Jinping attending alone, staying in a four-star hotel. Peng Liyuan, who always loves the spotlight and adds considerable points to Xi, has not accompanied him on any joint foreign visit since last year's third plenary session. The oddities do not stop there. On November 3rd, the CCP military held the first briefing session on the fourth plenary session in Beijing. The CCP's two top military figures, Zhang Youxia and Zhang Shengmin, both appeared and delivered speeches. CCP mouthpiece Xinhua issued a dispatch on the briefing at 6:32 and 40 seconds p.m. that day, which, as is customary, mentioned upholding the two establishes. However, just 41 seconds later, Xinhua issued a second dispatch. The bizarre thing happened. It was still the same meeting, still the same reporter, still Zhang Youxia as the protagonist, but all references to the two establishes and Xi Jinping's personal authority vanished from the text. What happened next was even stranger. The following morning, November 4th, the PLA Daily published a standalone article on the briefing in both its most important print edition and website headline. The content was word-for-word identical to Xinhua's second dispatch issued 41 seconds later, in which Xi Jinping completely disappeared. Yet, incredibly, this was clearly a reprinted article, but the name of Xinhua reporter Mei Chongwei was removed and replaced with PLA Daily reporters Yin Shan and Xiong Siki. Was this operation meant to plagiarize a Xinhua report? Obviously not. We often tell everyone to read news in context. Fang Hongwei's arrest shows that even Xi's brothers cannot protect a die-hard loyalist from their hometown. Peng Liyuan's canceled trip to Korea indicates Xi's downgraded treatment, or even Peng being held hostage. And Xinhua's 41-second wording change reveals a struggle between different factions within the propaganda apparatus itself. As for why the military copied Xinhua's report verbatim, yet signed it with their own reporters, it was to clearly signal that this version, without Xi's core references, aligns with the military's own stance and is the voice issued by the military itself. Official communiques can be faked, but anti-Xi faction actions and policies cannot. Such incidents will only increase. If you don't believe it, let's keep watching.